Hey guys, welcome back.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome back to Caps Off. How
Thanks,
are you
bro.
guys?
I'm cold. Glad to be here, man.
How's it feel to be a fucking loser? Welcome to the club. Huh?
Feels good.
It
Actually,
feels
good.
great.
Feels great.
Yeah.
There's not many teams. If you lose by more than 19, right? How many
16.
points did the Eagles lose by?
The Eagles lost by 23.
Okay, so if you lose by more than 19 points, you're pretty much a super loser. So
That's a fact.
And
And
how
you
much
don't want to
lose?
be a
How
super
much did the
loser.
Dolphins lose by?
19, I think.
And the Cowboys
We only lost by 16.
Oh.
You know, we're chilling, bro.
Oh,
you know what I
oh,
mean?
oh.
16.
Hey, congratulations,
Shout out
by
to
the way, on
King.
the 16.
Shout out to King's Weekend.
Yep, the King's Day.
You know, I was
King,
saying-
bro, I have a dream.
Yeah, you do. You know, dreams are good. You also
Shout
had a
out
dream
Fleetwood Mac.
for the Cowboys. Great song.
Mm.
Shout out Chris
dreams.
Jones.
Uh-huh.
Shout out Chris Jones. Yeah. I was
No,
saying this
Chris
Jones.
weekend,
God,
you know what's nice about having a losing team is just your team sucks.
Yeah.
You have no expectations.
Nope.
You never get let down.
Yeah,
You can just pray on the downfall of everybody else.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. Which
Which
I
you
got
won this week.
I won. The Giants won. This week.
Congratulations.
I think the
Congrats.
Eagles and the Cowboys are now going to be the most scrutinized offseason teams
Mm.
of all
Yeah.
of the teams.
However, there are some stories coming out about like Mike Kafka and Brian Daboll and Wink Martindale. And
Fuck them. Who fucking cares? It's not the
No.
point. No one gives
Matan's
a
right,
fuck.
though.
No one gives a fuck about the Giants, and that is okay.
bro,
Yeah.
I love
People
what you do
care
with your hair.
A lot about
Thanks,
the
bro.
Eagles and the Cowboys, and I'm excited for the offseason. People are just going to spend their whole time, ramming them a new one.
No, you're right. I think
Ramming
this
them.
is, I said this before the podcast, but this is the best thing that could happen to the NFL media, bro. Like,
Yeah.
Cowboys lose. You have another year where you can just
Shit
I
on
can't do
Dak.
this with the helmet, man. I'm
Shit
sorry.
on McCarthy.
I had a little mini helmet on my head for all the listeners. Yeah, you're gonna be able to shit on Dak again and say, okay, he is who we thought he was. He can't finish in the playoffs even after a good year. He can't do his thing in the playoffs. McCarthy he's probably not the answer in Dallas. Are they gonna have to go over another head coach? Is Jerry Jones? Are they ever gonna win with Jerry? Like all these questions, all these conversations, you're gonna keep them going. And then with the Eagles, there's already some chattering going on about Jalen Hurts and whether he's overrated. Nick Sirianni, if he's
Howie
if he's
Roseman,
the
of course.
problem.
There's some conversations I've seen about Howie
That's crazy.
Roseman.
I was
haven't
with
seen
an
that,
Eagles
so-
fan this weekend, and he was like, how you feel about the game? And he was like, I really hope they fucking lose.
Yeah, every Eagles fan wanted
Which
them to lose.
you said that last week.
I
and
mentioned it. I was
I was
crazy.
shocked. I was shocked to like actually meet
What was-
someone who was like,
no, that's
So
every.
what was
Eagles
his
fan.
reason? No, that wasn't every Eagles fan.
he was
bro,
just
but,
like
what was his
fucking
reasoning?
fucking tank it. He was like, tank it, get rid of Sirianni. Like we all know that they're not as good as that 10-1 record showed. Like the Eagles fans gave up after going 1-5.
Yeah, Eagles fans.
Man,
Eagles
those are
fans
most-
want
this is
no.
so
Eagles fans
fucking
wanted them to
stupid.
lose because if you were to win another game or maybe move
Sirianni
forward in the
stays.
playoffs, Sirianni probably stays, and they know top to bottom there's a lot of things that need to change. And clearly, and shout out to Acho who said it, but like they didn't know throughout that 10-1 record, the Eagles didn't know why they were winning games. So that's why they couldn't figure out how to stop losing because they lost 6 of the last 7. It's crazy to think that the Eagles were 10-1 and didn't get to 12 wins this year.
Insane.
It's just like a crazy.
I mean, they lost 6
thought.
of the last 7, including the playoff game,
Yeah.
right? So
They're the second team, I think, to do that since like being the NFC champion last year. It's like some crazy stat. But yes, back to your point,
All
like this
these
is by
questions.
far the best week in NFL media because adding to that, you could question Tua, of
Best
course, because
offseason, best
he's probably
offseason.
the best quarterback of those 3 that you mentioned, Jalen, Dak. So
no,
you could
this was
question
the
Tua.
best. This was the best week in history, or the best. The Dolphins played Saturday, right?
Yeah.
So it was the best Sunday, Monday of all time for the Dolphins, bro. Because
by
if you
far.
thought there was any
Oh.
conversation about
Oh, my
Tua
God.
and Mike
Oh,
McDaniel,
yeah, it's
all
over.
that's out the window, bro. Nobody
Oh.
gives a fuck about that.
It's a breath of fresh air.
It's Dallas Cowboys and Philly hate week and hate month and hate off season
Yeah.
for the rest of the offseason.
I feel like
Yeah.
I had to defend so many takes. I was on Twitter. I saw so many things. Everyone's just yelling at each other because that's what people do when your team loses.
Yeah.
Obviously, you wouldn't know about that.
Oh, I know.
Recently.
I know a lot about.
No,
when
but
my team loses.
recently
In the
recently in the
playoffs.
playoffs. Yep.
Who here has 2 Super Bowls in this?
No,
lifetime?
absolutely. I
Bitch.
don't at all.
Bitch.
The Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since
Bitch.
2000. Well, no, it's crazy. The
Eli
Dolphins
Manning better than Tua.
Stop yelling at me.
I mean,
That's
yeah.
facts. Really wants 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, that's
The
pretty
Dolphins now
true.
have the longest active playoff drought. The Lions surpassed that.
Yeah.
That's depressing. That's depressing, bro. Oh my god,
Bro.
the Lions won a playoff game.
No, you want even crazier? The Dolphins, right? We've always credited Laramie Tunsil with this rebuild
Yeah.
as the guy. Get Tyreek.
Oh, and
get
he
Bradley
got a
Chubb. He got a playoff win
playoff
before.
I didn't even realize that. My God.
It's crazy, right?
Oh, the
man.
Dolphins.
Texans.
What? Wait,
The
I thought
Dolphins
the
are
Eagles had the biggest
embarrassing.
collapse. It's the Dolphins, bro. The Eagles had the biggest collapse in the past 7 weeks. But the Dolphins, like,
No. It's not the Eagles had the biggest collapse. The Dolphins had the biggest realization that we really
still
are
ass.
a terrible fucking franchise.
Mhm.
Like we still can't figure it the fuck out.
Because I agree with that because like we've known for most of our lives, being 25, 26, like our age, that the Dolphins just are completely irrelevant. They've always been that.
Yeah.
And then now we
Not in my
like
heart.
this year,
Then I met Adam. And then
this
I met
year,
Adam.
they got some firepower, including last year with Tyreek and everything like that. And we're like, yo, are they finally relevant again? And no, they're not. And so you're
Well,
right.
last year too, because they got Tyreek the year prior, and
Yeah, the last 2 years. Yeah.
yeah. No, they're still relevant in my heart. But yes, I agree with you. NFL media, we're going crazy. There's a lot of fucking things to talk about. Wildcard weekend kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Anywho,
I did think it sucked.
It was one of the worst.
Not for me, just a Cowboys fan. I think it was just like a bad.
Every
game.
single game in
was bad.
Wildcard weekend was a blowout, except for the Lions-Rams game.
That was dope.
That was a good
Shout
game.
out Puka too.
didn't
He
even
balled
get to
out.
watch that.
Puka was amazing. But
it's better than
the
Waddle.
point is, we went all Wildcard weekend like with just blowout after blowout after blowout. And I said before that whatever that was, when was that? Sunday night, that
Yeah.
Lions game. I was just like, can we just get one fucking game that the fourth quarter is actually like
And you
tight
got it.
at all? And it was tight. So
Toy
we
leg it,
got
toy
that.
again?
Everything else was a fucking blowout. Horrible. Cowboys stink. The Dolphins
I
stink.
still
The
believe, and this
Eagles
is
stink.
based off of how Wildcard weekend went, I still believe in this take, and it's that the NFL playoffs need to be a 1 through 14 seeding. I would rather
Why?
see the best team. I'd rather see like the Bills be able to go up against like
No,
the
bro.
Eagles. I don't know why.
I would say the opposite. This week of NFL, I know we hated the blowouts, but we didn't expect the blowouts in that direction. At least, sure that's fine. That's not fun. But this showed that what the NFL is all about, bro. Like any given Sunday, anybody could win.
Yeah.
And in one weekend, in one wildcard weekend, the first
You had
week of the
things flip.
NFL playoffs, all these underdogs are just not only winning but smoking the other teams. Like, bro, this is the epitome of what the NFL is, and it's why it's better than the NBA, and it's why it's better than the other sports.
And it's also a testament to this entire year. We've known all year that there's been no one team that has been far and above all the rest. It hasn't felt like that. There's been no one player. Same with the MVP conversation. It's not felt like one team has just been the dominant force. The Cowboys in the regular season were dominant. The Eagles obviously started 10-1 and fell off.
Phone's falling.
The
That's okay.
Niners dominant looking, but had
Had a
before,
couple
bad.
of weak games, right? Like,
But a Lions-Bills game would be kind of fun.
I agree with you. And the Bills started bad, got hot. There's been no one team that has been the entire season dominant. The Chiefs have looked weak, but they're different beasts in the playoffs. I think it's exciting for the NFL that there was this much parity. The other thing I was going to say is we really overhyped the NFC during the regular season. We said the NFC was much stronger than the AFC.
Well, we said it was top heavy.
We said it was more top heavy than the AFC. And now all the best teams in the NFC are out. There's just the Niners left. The Niners have a fucking cakewalk to the Super Bowl now.
I don't agree.
If the trend was, based off that trend, if the Niners had played week 1, they probably would have lost. They probably would have lost this past weekend too.
Yeah,
they would have lost us
in the wild card weekend.
Yeah,
oh
bro.
my
Like,
God.
But that's the same with the Ravens.
nah, but we're talking about the NFC.
Of course, sure.
The good teams in the AFC won.
Yeah.
The Chiefs, the Bills.
I thought the Browns are pretty good.
The Browns are, but the Texans are fun.
The Dolphins
The
are pretty
Browns
good.
and Texans are closer to each other than the.
Yeah, it was Joe Flacco.
Who the
was
Dolphins
quarterback
lose
for
to?
The Browns.
Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs are
Chiefopolis,
always the better
as Felipe
option.
would say.
Yeah, Chiefs are definitely better.
Yeah. The
No.
Chiefs and the Bills won
No.
is my point.
Yeah.
Whereas like their counterparts in the NFC, which I would say are like the Cowboys and the Eagles, couldn't get it done.
Yeah, man. Look, fucking terrible for these big time programs. These big time. I say programs like it's a college program.
It is a college program.
These big time franchises that have some of the best fan bases in the league. I mean, you can say the worst, but some of the biggest and just most enthusiastic and just fucking crazy fan bases for them to both be out week 1.
So where should
round
we
1 of the
start?
playoffs is
I want to
sad.
talk about America's team.
Let's start with that.
The Detroit Lions.
Or
No.
either the Detroit Lions or
Relax.
the Houston Texans.
Oh
No.
my God, here we go. You guys are so disrespectful. We're
America's
gonna walk off
team.
the stage.
Yeah. I mean, I wholeheartedly.
All right, we're
believe-
starting with the Dallas Cowboys. Stop playing.
Sure,
Adam.
we could start with the
Jesus.
Dallas.
What the fuck?
Christ.
Ow! Funny bone.
We can start with
I
the
know
Cowboys.
you're jealous because your
We
team
can start
hasn't
with
been
the
relevant in
Cowboys.
35 years.
Felipe, I want you to spit here. What went wrong with the Dallas Cowboys in Wild Card weekend?
Everything.
Oh, I was gonna say that.
Everything.
You stole the words from my mouth.
Tell the people.
I
What
didn't even
went
get to
wrong.
watch.
Everything went
I was
wrong,
at the
bro.
wedding.
Yeah, you didn't get to watch it because you were at the wedding, but it's good that you didn't watch. You don't need to watch. Literally everything went wrong. This defense that was high flying all year, that was getting takeaways and turnovers and and has led the league in takeaways the past couple of years under Dan Quinn. They couldn't stop a fucking nosebleed. Aaron Jones went crazy.
Crazy.
Let's go. Jordan Love, man. I mean, we were talking about it because me and Matan went on TikTok live on Caps Off. But Jordan Love played very well, but also the passes he had to make, like his receivers were wide open. He just had to complete it. I mean, a lot of those, like his receivers was waiting on the ball because like he was just throwing off his back foot, just flinging it like Aaron Rodgers has done most of his career. And to wide open receivers. And so the Cowboys, the Cowboys defense couldn't stop anything. The Packers were going crazy. And then offensively, there were some weird things, Can we cuss on this podcast?
I think so. Yeah. Multiple times.
I don't know why I censored myself after not censoring myself for like
Let's just get it out of the way. Fuck. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. There was some weird shit going on between Dak and CD. So you didn't watch that, but the beginning of the game, they were clearly showing there was some shit going on between Dak and CD, some miscommunication on the sideline as well. And even Mike McCarthy went over to talk to CD Lamb, which doesn't really happen as far as a head coach going over to like set things straight. So there was some weird shit, and then you could see it on the field. CD was dropping balls, which you hadn't seen all year. Because of that, obviously Dak was rattled. He threw a pick six that was a terrible pick six, which Jack would say if it was Brock Purdy that it wasn't that Brock's fault. So I'm gonna say it's not Dak's fault.
Yeah,
either,
no, absolutely. I think that totally makes sense.
Yeah, and it was so the offense was just bad all around. But then, like as we could expect, the offense started to get it together and they started scoring points, but the defense couldn't stop a fucking nosebleed. So it was bad all around. And the reason I will point this loss to Mike McCarthy is because it wasn't just Dak. Like you could say, okay, yeah, Dak played bad. That's fair. He didn't play a good game by any means. He picked up at the end and scored some points, but like he didn't play a great game. But the defense also played horrible. This defense that has been great all year. Dak has been great all year and played bad. CD has been great all year and played bad. So what's the one thing that ties all that together? Your head coach. Yeah. And so and Dan Quinn, if you would have seen this defense against this 7-seed Packers team, who I know they've been playing well lately, but come on, bro. Like they've been beating up on bad teams. The Packers aren't like that. I like what we're going to talk about Jordan Love. But bro, like you just didn't see if you just watch this game in a vacuum, you would say Dan Quinn is a horrible defensive coordinator. Yeah. You know what he's been doing all year. He's a great defensive coordinator. He took the Falcons to the Super Bowl a few years ago. So all the thing that ties all them together is Mike McCarthy. And I think you legitimately have to ask the question of whether he should stay in Dallas or you should let him go, especially because there's good coaching in the landscape. Right
on the Dak comment about if Dak played well or not, like you said, Dak didn't play well by any means. No. I think it was Dan Orlovsky I saw say, if Jordan Love had the stats that Dak had, we would be saying that Jordan Love had an awesome playoff debut.
Yeah.
Because he threw for over 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 INTs. Like, we would say that Jordan Love had an awesome playoff debut.
Yeah.
But because it's Dak Prescott, who still had a still had a good 100%. Game statistically, 2 INTs, not great, obviously, especially if you're the MVP. But like, it's the playoffs. People are going to come with good defenses. Like that's what's going to happen. I mean, and like the pressure is going to be on. Like quarterbacks make mistakes. That's how. It goes.
I mean, if you want to be
because it's Dak Prescott, he is just being scrutinized and scrutinized.
Yeah. And I think it's like, what are we comparing it to? So what we saw all year from this Dallas team, for the most part, was a great unit, defensive unit that got lots of takeaways, a quarterback that was in the MVP conversation. And a lot of people think should have won it just based off of what he did individually compared to somebody like Lamar Jackson. We know Lamar's going to win. And just all around, like CD Lamb, a great receiver, and just everything working. And so the fact that none of it was working, bro, like this is an internal problem, and it goes back to one guy, and it's your head coach. And you could really say it goes back to Jerry Jones.
I was going to say
Jerry Jones, but we don't have to say that. We already know that.
Yes.
So now it's Mike McCarthy.
You brought this up, I think,
many times
in the offseason, many times. The Cowboys will not win a Super Bowl as long as Jerry Jones is the owner.
Yeah.
It is not. So if Mike McCarthy is the reason, and Mike McCarthy wants to be the scapegoat, and he's the guy that needs to go, let's give credit where credit is due. Like Dak had arguably his best season due to Mike McCarthy and what he was able to do for Dak.
Yeah.
And Dak also said that. And it's the difference between Jalen Hurts, what he said about Nick Sirianni, versus Dak, what he said about Mike McCarthy. Jalen Hurts, they asked him, do you have confidence in Nick Sirianni? He said, I have confidence in the entire locker room. That's a direct question with an indirect answer. With Dak, when they asked him about Mike McCarthy, and if you believe in Mike McCarthy, he said, if you want to question Mike McCarthy being the head coach, then you should question me being the quarterback. Now, granted, Dak, that's what they're going to do. I'm sorry, brother. They're going to question you too, because that's what you do. Your name is Dakota. But with that being said, I think
you're in Dallas.
And you're in Dallas. But the Cowboys will not win a Super Bowl as long as Jerry Jones is there. And you could look at the makeup. Like, you had DBs playing linebacker. And granted, it worked. Granted, it worked. But and it's the reason I'm going to talk about when the Dolphins come up, like the reason the Dolphins lost. Physicality matters in the playoffs. And if you just are a team that can't match pound for pound from a physical standpoint, you are going to lose in the playoffs. And I think that that's what we saw. Green Bay just came out here with these big old Iowa boys and just ran down their ran down their throat. I got a big cut. Sorry. That one.
Coda bite you?
No. Battle wounds on the paddle court.
Sucks.
Yeah, no.
Can we talk about the Packers now?
Yeah, but hold on. Let me just finish this thought. So I think, and I was listening to Louis Riddick talk about this morning, the makeup of the Cowboys was not the makeup of a Super Bowl caliber team due to physicality. So why do the Cowboys keep losing in the playoffs? Why are they a good regular season team? Is their team, their makeup is not physical enough, which is the playoffs. And that's what kind of Louis Riddick was saying, and I'm summarizing it. And I think it makes sense. And he was pointing it up to Jerry Jones that you want to fire Mike McCarthy, sure. You want to bring in Bill Belichick, sure. But I don't think Bill Belichick wants to answer to a fucking owner that's not going to let him make personnel decisions. Now, granted, Belichick's been shit at personnel decisions, but he's still the greatest coach of all time.
Yeah.
So the issues for the Cowboys go way beyond Mike McCarthy, in my opinion, even though we could point the loss to maybe him and the play calling and everything else in between. But it's got to go to Jerry Jones.
And here's the thing with Mike, before we just go to the Packers real quick.
How fucking.
And it leads well because Mike, obviously coming from Green Bay as a former head coach there, he's led the Cowboys to 3 12-5 seasons of the last 4 years. And the only year he didn't was the Dak Prescott injury year where he had the horrific leg injury. So 12-5, 3 out of 4 years. Good. Yeah, it's insane.
I want that. I'll take that.
Oh, yeah.
But then losing in the playoffs, where I will dispute the physicality thing. The Cowboys have had very physical teams in the past. This year, I could agree with that. I don't think that's been the problem overall. But, yeah, I would say like injuries and stuff definitely played a part. But, yeah, man, I agree. And I've said it. Like you said, you're really echoing me. So shout out to you, Adam, for echoing the great words of Felipe Fontes.
Shout out Dr. King, yeah.
But you're right. Cowboys will not win as long as Jerry Jones is there. Now on to the Packers.
On to the Packers, because Jordan Love did ball the fuck out in his playoff debut. Felipe posed a beautiful question this weekend. How many quarterbacks would you rather have to start a franchise with?
Over
Jordan Love.
So what's the question?
You have
Very
Jordan
few.
Love.
How
many quarterbacks would you take over Jordan Love to start a franchise with?
Right now, today, we're starting a franchise expansion league. Sick. Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Josh Allen. Stop it.
Come on.
Let's stop.
Come on.
What are we doing here? Hold on. No. I get
Josh
it.
Allen.
I'm so happy for
Jordan
Love.
You watched Josh Allen play last night, right?
I am so fucking happy for Jordan Love. I feel like I have been from the start, like on this Packers team, and they have been one of my NFC teams. You've been on Jordan Love. We've been on the Packers early. I've been saying that I believe the Packers' skill positions are better than what the Jets had, and therefore Aaron Rodgers was going to a worse situation. I'm on the record saying that. But we got to relax in terms of saying there's only 5 quarterbacks or something that you would take over Jordan Love right now. Jordan Love's playing. That's my point. That's crazy. What are we doing here?
I agree.
Jordan Love is playing amazing, but he's also he's young. And I'm not going to sit here right now and be like, yep, taking him over him.
I want to hear. Hold on.
I've seen it before.
I want to hear who else you would take over Jordan Love.
Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, 1.
Lamar Jackson.
2.
Josh Allen, but I'm not as confident as the other 2. The other 2, point blank. Josh Allen, I will take as well. And then it's
Herbert.
He and Herbert are the
Dak?
Not
Not
Dak.
that confident.
Kyler?
No.
Hurts?
Burrow, you want to bring up
Joe Burrow?
Nah, bro. After Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson,
Trevor Lawrence,
and Josh Allen, Jordan Love, I'm as confident to start a franchise with as any of those other quarterbacks.
What about CJ Stroud?
That one's close, but I'll go Love because he's more dynamic on the ground.
Well, let me ask you a question. Why are you so confident in Jordan Love's future when it comes to some of these other quarterbacks who might not have been in as good of a situation? Because I think early on, yes, the Packers had growing pains, but Matt LaFleur's a damn good coach.
He's he's
going to scheme up someone.
But the Packers are the 4th youngest team to ever play in the playoffs. And to go out and dominate a Dallas Cowboys team, and you're playing the defense, we all understand this, but regardless, it's always a thing where you're going to compare when it's 2 playoff teams playing against each other, the quarterback versus quarterback. Like it was the Brady versus Manning, all this. Like Jordan Love, technically, outplayed Dak Prescott, which is huge in the first game of his playoff, in the first playoff game of his career, considering Dak Prescott knocked Tom Brady out of the playoffs last year. He retired him. And so Jordan Love came in.
45-year-old Tom Brady.
Yeah. And one of the greatest, the greatest quarterback of all time. Huge feat.
45.
Did Brady not have a good year last year? Brady won a Super Bowl 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. So
three.
Something
like that.
Regardless. So Jordan Love came out and he balled out. And frankly, he's performed better this year than Trevor Lawrence. He's performed better this year than Joe Burrow. He's performed better this year. Well, what? Joe Burrow got hurt, but how did he play when he was playing? He was ass.
I'm with you, but if we want to take those first 8 games or whatever it was and compare to Jordan Love's first 8 games in the season, like Jordan Love had the back half of the season.
Yeah, he had a great back half of the season.
No, the Trevor argument though is there. Trevor played the whole year.
But like,
Trevor played the whole year.
I am so happy to slander Joe Burrow. I feel like you and I do it more than anyone. But let's have some
pump the brakes a little bit.
No, hold on. Okay, so let me specify. I think there's conversations to be had with Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud, other guys.
I'm going to start a franchise.
I think I would take CJ Stroud
over Jordan Love.
I would take CJ Stroud over Jordan Love,
and that ain't
by a mile, like in a heartbeat.
You would take Jordan over CJ Stroud?
I would take CJ Stroud over Jordan Love in a heartbeat.
Me too.
Heartbeat.
Me too.
Well, one guy's unreal.
Jordan Love had a better year. That's the problem with looking at more. Like, one guy threw for a lot of yards.
Well, I believe
if yards don't matter, who cares? Joe Flacco was throwing for 400 plus.
I'm not saying that. The reason I would take I think the better conversation, CJ Stroud versus Jordan Love, right? First year. Right? Like, let's not get crazy. Jordan Love versus Josh Allen and Joe Burrow and all these guys. Like, let's pump the brakes there. Let's have the conversation between Jordan Love and CJ Stroud. The reason I'm going to take CJ Stroud over Jordan Love is because CJ Stroud, what he was able to do with less in technically a rebuilding year, is far more impressive to me than what Jordan Love has been able to do this year. Now, granted, I think the Packers skill, I think what Matt LaFleur and what that front office was able to do in surrounding him with talent, granted, it might not be as top heavy as having Devontae Adams, but they have for them to hit on a Jaden Reed, and Christian Watson didn't even play this year, but to also have the Romeo Dobbs, the Dontavian Wicks where they get lucky. Aaron Jones missed half the fucking year. For them to do what they did is super impressive. But I also think CJ Stroud dealt with a lot of injuries and missed time as well. I think he missed 2 or 3 games. I'm not looking at the yards, but I think it's far more impressive as a rookie in your first year to have the year that he did versus Jordan Love sitting for 3 years, sitting behind a back-to-back MVP, and then being able to just learn and have that play more like a veteran.
Unfair.
Why is that unfair?
Because you're talking about what's more impressive. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about who I would rather have as a quarterback. And I'm saying I'm more impressed with that. And therefore, I am going to take CJ Stroud over Jordan Love. Okay, that's my logic.
CJ Stroud, by the way, had 51 less yards than Jordan Love in 2 fewer games.
Yeah, exactly. I said passing yards don't matter.
So, okay. He also had 23 touchdowns in 2 fewer games, where Jordan Love had 32. So he
second most in the league.
Probably would have beaten him. 5 INTs for CJ Stroud and 11 INTs for Jordan Love.
Yeah.
They had very similar stats.
They're similar. They're similar. I think it's a conversation.
And then the other thing was in this wild card game, they had the exact same stats.
Yeah. No, so that's crazy.
I saw that Jordan Love was 16 of 21. So was CJ Stroud. 272 passing yards for Love, 274 for CJ Stroud. 3 touchdowns for both.
No, they had very similar. I agree. I agree with you that the conversation in terms of better quarterback, you can't have that right now. Jordan Love with Burrow, these guys are better. They've done more. You can't have it with CJ Stroud. I agree. But the question isn't that. It's who would I rather start a franchise with and go forward over the next 10 years with. And you got to use history in your logic. And what we're saying with Jordan Love, we saw with Aaron Rodgers. When we saw Aaron Rodgers come out, there were other quarterbacks that were better than him, like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and there's other guys that were better. Tony Romo at that time, Drew Brees, there were Phillip Rivers. But you were like, yo, Aaron Rodgers, this looks special, and I'm willing to take my chance with this guy because he's more the only quarterback that I really see in terms of just gifts when you want to compare to Jordan Love is Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers of the past few, and Josh Allen kind of. Nobody has the tandem, the combination of the legs, the arm, the improvisation. It's
Trevor.
Mahomes.
There's guys out there.
Trevor, but he hasn't performed
You're right. He hasn't performed, but he has those things.
I want to agree with you, and I'm all in on Jordan Love. I'm just saying, for me personally, if it's the conversation of CJ Stroud versus Jordan Love, because Jordan Love was able to sit behind and have this veteran mentality, right? Because he played like a veteran, it felt like it. CJ doing this as a rookie is more impressive, and therefore, if I'm just taking both these 1 years, I'm going to lean with CJ Stroud because he's going to develop, and youth is far more on his side. And you're entering Jordan Love needing to give him a contract, and CJ Stroud is now on a rookie deal.
Okay, so I got you. So you're using Jordan Love's development against him. I'm using it for him.
I get that. So that's fair. But I think I'm all in. Like, I think the Packers have been doing this for fucking 25 years. They get lucky with they fit Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love.
It ain't luck.
I didn't mean it as like a negative. I saw something crazy that I do want to bring up because Aaron Rodgers, you brought it up. Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love, and just frankly, the Packers organization as a whole, like what's happening right now is
history
repeating himself.
Yeah.
History is literally repeating itself for the Green Bay Packers. And I think this is crazy. So bear with me because there are some stats to it. I'm going to try and go over the high-level stats.
This is good.
But Aaron Rodgers in 2010 versus Jordan Love in 2023 over their final 8 games of the regular season and the wild card. So credit to front office NFL. I think it's Tony Holzman. He tweeted this out. This is crazy. Aaron Rodgers in 2010, 7-2 over those last 8 games, including the wild card win, right?
2010 was that first year you started, you said?
Was Aaron Rodgers' first year as a start of 2010?
No, I feel like it was earlier than that.
Yeah,
earlier.
No, 2008?
I thought it was earlier. I'm just saying I think this is more so based off of it's not about like the rookie season. It's about just this, how this is going.
Yeah.
2008. Yeah, exactly.
2008.
So Aaron Rodgers, 7-2, 67% completion percentage, 251 yards per game, 19-2 touchdown INT ratio, right? The offense had 20 offensive touchdowns. He then went on and had 3 passing touchdowns, 0 INTs in a wild card road win over the NFC East champion Philadelphia Eagles. Right? Got that?
Yeah.
So Aaron Rodgers balls out last 8 games. Jordan Love this year, 13 years later, 7-2 quarterback, 7-2 win-loss record, same exact as Aaron Rodgers. Better completion percentage, more yards per game, better touchdown INT ratio, 21-1, better passer rating as well. Team had 23 offensive touchdowns over the last 8 games. What did Jordan Love do this week in wild card? 3 passing touchdowns, 0 INTs in a wild card road win over the NFC East champion Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Exact same thing as Aaron Rodgers. Let's take it a step further. One step further. In that 2010 year, Mike McCarthy was in his 5th season as the Packers head coach, who then, before that, they previously moved on from an MVP quarterback who won a Super Bowl with another head coach in Brett Favre for a quarterback who was drafted in the 1st round in Aaron Rodgers. And then they went and traded that quarterback to the Jets, right?
Favre to the Jets.
Favre to the Jets.
Yeah.
What happens 13 years later? Exact same type of scenario. Matt LaFleur in his 5th season as the head coach as well. He has moved on from an MVP quarterback who won a Super Bowl with another head coach in Aaron Rodgers for a quarterback that was also drafted in the 1st round for Jordan Love and then traded that quarterback to the Jets. What's going on with the Packers right now is exactly what happened to Aaron Rodgers in 2010, and the Packers figured it the fuck out.
So Jordan Love to the Jets confirmed in 15 years.
In 15 years, yeah. Absolutely.
Cool.
That's crazy.
Isn't that wild, though? Like, their stats are identical. I don't know. It's weird. And frankly, it feels like it's been happening all year because I feel like they were comparing Aaron Rodgers' first year to Jordan Love's first year, and the stats were awfully similar. I'm happy for Jordan Love. I'm all in on the Packers. I'm not taking him over a Josh Allen to start my franchise. I've seen so much from Josh Allen.
I agree with that.
You don't. But
what about Baker Mayfield?
Josh? No, hold up. Just to specify.
You're taking Josh.
Yes.
You're just saying there's a conversation.
There's less of a conversation.
Okay.
Josh, I'm taking. The other guys,
No, he was saying he's more confident.
Mahomes, Lamar, and Josh Allen.
Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna bring up Baker Mayfield also because he's been balling, and I feel like Jack would be the one to have more to say about Baker.
I love Baker, man. I've been the biggest on the Baker train, I think, since the offseason. Baker he's had a good career, right? And it's been unfortunate for him because like things have gone the wrong way in Cleveland with them getting Deshaun Watson. That hasn't worked out for Cleveland either. And going to different teams. What was he in Carolina last year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then LA never got a proper opportunity. This year, he obviously has that, and he has talent in Tampa. We tried to say, with Tom Brady, like he didn't have any talent in the basketball. Shut the fuck up. Tom Brady had talent. He just
God, that Tampa team is one of the most talented teams.
Yeah, they were insane.
And now Baker's been able to do what Brady couldn't even do last year. Brady obviously lost in a wild card to a fantastic
Brady was 45.
Star-led team in Dallas,
Brady was 45 still.
But was the team good? I mean, that goes against the argument then. I mean, the team was good, right? They just won this year with Baker.
Quarterback's the most important position in the.
Well, I also think off the field shit matters. Like culture matters. I think there was a lot going on, obviously, with the divorce with Giselle. Like, I think we can't just take.
What a mistake that was for him.
Yeah, seriously. But I get it. Keep going.
But then Baker goes and takes this team, bro, and they had success all year. I said it on the offseason. This team's going to win the NFC South. They're one of the best teams they're one of the most underrated teams in the league, and they have a good roster with good defensive players, good offensive players. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin is one of the best duos in the league, and Baker is able to maximize that. And the Bucs go in this weekend and look, they got a good matchup against Philly. Philly obviously not looking great the past few weeks, and a lot of problems with them, but they go in and they play very well. So, I mean, shout out to Baker. I don't think it's going to last long. Who they play next week?
Detroit.
They could beat Detroit.
It could beat Detroit. Baker's one of the most electrifying players, bro. He's so fun.
Yeah, I like Baker a lot. And
he's got the moxie, man.
He's from Texas and shit.
He's from Texas, man.
It is.
I can't believe, and there was a stadium.
There was a picture going around of Baker playing D-line for the Panthers last year on like scout team when Darnold was starting or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is how bad Carolina is. Because like clearly it goes back to the logic. You surround a quarterback with the right talent, with the right pieces, with the right culture and the right locker room. That quarterback's usually going to find success. I think you see it with Jalen Hurts, who didn't obviously have success. There's a lot of shit going on. I think when Sirianni gets fired, you're going to see a lot of things come out from that locker room. But it just goes to show that Baker and that team, they were tightly knit and they won a playoff game. I think if they go up against a Dallas, or even though Dallas lost, or they go up against Detroit in the first round, they're not winning. Like they won the NFC South, but they just won the NFC South in a terrible division. They also I'm all in on Baker Mayfield, but they're going to win one playoff game and that's going to be it. I don't think they're going on a run.
That's better than losing 0 like Dallas and Philly
and Dolphins. I agree with you. I'm just saying, I got nothing more to say about Baker. I'm happy for Baker. I think Baker's been written off. Like it's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And it's funny. Baker got the last laugh over Cleveland.
Not anymore. Bro.
Jack Brody in the comments.
Baker is so likable, bro.
Jack was right all along about the Eagles cry. Yeah, Jack, but you were wrong about Jordan Love. You're wrong about Jordan Love.
That is facts. Let's talk about the Lions, though, because we'll get to your Dolphins. Don't you worry.
I should pee before, huh?
No. You should pee your pants.
Feels like what Tua does.
Let's talk about America's team, the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, stop doing that intro, man.
I'm sorry.
It hypes me up.
All right,
more Cowboys.
I know.
More
Cowboys.
Stop.
Fake.
Hold on, stop.
It's a pump fake. Sorry.
We got to start talking about America's team, the Detroit Lions.
Oh, nice, dude. You did it so well.
Good one. Nice. You got him, bro. That was nice.
Now you say it.
No, let's talk about the Detroit Lions.
How many intros we gonna
I do feel like the Detroit Lions have America behind them. Like when I say America's team, like right now, people are rallying behind Detroit behind the Lions.
Well, didn't you see Dodgeball? Everyone loves a good true underdog story.
They're
like the Niners are Globo Gym and the Lions are Average Joes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Which means that someone's going to win at the last second.
Which means that the Niners aren't winning the Super Bowl.
Pretty much. No, well, they're going to lose in the NFC Championship.
What are your takeaways from that Detroit Lions win? Lions get their first playoff win ever, pretty much.
Yeah, good. I don't think we learned anything new necessarily. I'm glad they won a playoff game. That's actually it's hard to do. So I mean, you have a good year, and to go win a playoff game, it says a lot. But
I didn't get to watch the game because I was at the win.
Oh, that's right.
I saw the box scores. I gotta pee.
Go pee. But I mean, look, I mean the Rams played well this year. They played above expectation, but they're also not a great team. But yeah, like I said, credit to go win a game. I just think that next week they play the Lions. You said
the Lions played the Bucks.
Oh, who do the Rams
talking
play?
about the Lions?
Oh, the Lions. Oh, yeah. I'm tripping.
Yeah.
The Lions play the Bucks. That's what I meant to say. That's what I meant to say. The Bucks. Then I think you should probably. I just spit a lot. You should probably win that game too. You are better than the Bucks. I don't know, bro. The Lions, honestly, low key, one of the easiest paths to the NFC Championships I've seen.
Yeah. Lions also, I think the Lions legitimately could make the Super Bowl.
I don't think they can beat San Fran. But
it depends. Depends. Any given Sunday, my friend. I didn't think the Cowboys would lose to the fucking whoever they lost to, the Packers.
Well, the Packers will beat the 49ers this weekend. So then you get Packers, Lions NFC Championship. I'm going to take the Packers. I'm going to take Jordan Love, the next great one.
Okay, I would take the Lions in that game. The next great one. Jared Goff's been there before. Jared Goff's time to return.
Lost.
Time to return. Detroit underdog.
What do you think about that game then?
The Rams?
The Rams Lions. Yeah. What's your takeaway?
My takeaway is that Puka Nacua is the fucking dog.
Bro, he's him. He actually
Puka Nacua is a fucking dog. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a dog.
Stafford balled out.
Stafford did ball out. The Lions almost didn't. Like the Lions almost blew that game.
Yeah.
It felt like.
Yeah. They don't have much experience. It's just like, okay, I guess that's my biggest thing with the Lions. It's like they're proving people wrong. They've been doing that all year. They had a good year. They finished 12-5. They go win one game in the playoffs, which is huge. Now you get to the divisional round. But I still don't think they're that dominant of a team. Like, they're not scary.
They're not. Their defense isn't locked down enough to be able to, like, stop an actual good playoff team, playoff offense.
Exactly. And even their offense, like, yes, they have weapons, but we've seen them shit the bed as well. And so going back to this might be the easiest path the team has had to the NFC Championship. And let's say the Packers beat the 49ers and somehow they beat the Packers to get to the Super Bowl. If they get to the Super Bowl, it's gonna be the worst ass beating we've ever seen. Like, the Lions do not belong in any type of conversation when you're talking about
what the fuck did I just walk into?
True Super Bowl threats.
If the Lions make the Super Bowl, they're gonna get beat down.
No, we're saying
why?
Okay, first off, here's the thing:
good.
the Lions have the easiest path to the NFC Championship game out of like any team that I've really seen lately. I mean, you win this game against the Rams, cool. The Rams aren't. They fought.
Well, what does it matter? You're playing the team in front of you.
You're playing the team in front of you, but when they get to the NFC Championship game, if they're playing San Fran, they don't really belong in that game. And if the Packers do beat San Francisco, then you get that Packers-Lions matchup. Cool. Let's say the Lions get to the Super Bowl. If they face the Ravens in the Super Bowl, they're gonna lose by 40.
Okay, but let's just go off the favorites.
Agree.
The Lions are favored. The Niners are favored. Let's just assume they both win. If the Lions happen to beat San Francisco, we're just still gonna say that they're gonna get routed by the Ravens, who might not even get to the Super Bowl. Like, why are we so sure? Why don't we look at what happened on Wildcard Weekend and not overestimate that the teams that might be the better team on paper might not actually win? Like,
because
why are we?
I think there's more nuance to it. Like, yes, the Cowboys were the better team, and yes, the Eagles were the better team, but the Eagles had lost 5 of the last 6 before that. The Cowboys had gotten blown out in 4 different games in recent times. So if you looked at actual like recent trends, you could actually see those upsets coming. Whereas the Ravens, like,
I think the Lions are definitely a fucking team that could go upset San Francisco, and certainly, like, why are they not as good of team on what logic, on what grounds? No. You said if they get to the Super Bowl, they're going to get routed.
The Lions aren't. Yeah, wait. Because if they meet the Ravens, they're going to get routed. The Ravens are a proven dominant force. The Lions have not felt dominant all season long. Yes, they won some games. Good for them. They won 12 games. Dolphins just won 12 games, didn't they? How'd they do?
They won 11.
Okay, same shit. How'd they do? Not well.
I could poke so many different holes at like the Dolphins makeup versus the Lions makeup. Like it's a way a team is made up.
The Lions makeup is not as consistent as a Ravens makeup. If they were to,
we're talking about one team that still has to go get to the Super Bowl. Like it's either there's the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs. Like, I'm not sure on the Texans, but like I'm not even so sure the Ravens are going to get to the Super Bowl.
That's true. No, that's valid.
Fair.
So like
I think the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs are all better teams in the playoffs than the Lions are.
I'll take the Lions over the Chiefs. That's for damn sure.
I would take the Chiefs over the Lions.
Yes, absolutely.
We're talking about Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid in the playoffs.
Let's also not forget that before going up against the Dolphins in 0-degree weather, the Chiefs over these last like 5 weeks have been a fucking bad team.
Okay, yeah, and they're going to make the AFC Championship.
We use the past years to account. You have to.
And I used the past year to talk about the Eagles and why I expected them to be okay, and they weren't. I just don't think we could.
The Chiefs have won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Bro, we can't just take what happened last year and then be like, that's why it's going to happen
last year.
year.
It's the past 6 years since Mahomes has been a starter.
I think we are disrespecting. I think you both are
disrespecting
disrespecting the Lions. I think at some point all year, the Lions have been disrespected. They won 12 games. There's a credit to that. They've been able to beat teams. They've lost some bad games too. But we've seen it. Every team has lost bad games. The Lions, if they play San Francisco, regardless of if they have an easy path or not, and they go in and beat San Francisco, we better put some respect on their fucking name. They're a damn good team.
I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm just saying, I still think San Francisco and Baltimore and the Bills and the Chiefs are all better teams.
Yeah,
I'm hyped. I'm rooting for Detroit.
I'm not
Detroit is the underdog for a reason.
I'm not so
They
sure.
are the underdog for a reason. They're not actually as good. We don't think they're as good.
Yeah.
Now, any given Sunday, go out and win the playoff games.
I want to go on record thinking I think the Lions. Jack was right. I think the Lions are a good team.
The Lions went 12-5.
You just said they're not a good team.
That's not what I said. I said they're not as good as the Bills, the Ravens, the Chiefs, or the Niners.
They won more games than the Chiefs. Why are we saying that?
Because the Chiefs have Patrick fucking Mahomes.
They're not as good as
and they're about to play the Bills and lose. And then you're going to say, oh, the Lions won. They made it farther than the Chiefs. They played the fucking Bills.
Yeah, it's not like that, yeah.
The Lions are a very good team. They went 12-5. There's no and they just won a playoff game against a good Rams team. Like, there's no arguing that they are a very good team. They are an underdog in this story of the NFL season for a reason, right? They are not expected to win playoff games. If they go and win playoff games, which I hope they do, then it will be an awesome feat. Good for you. You won the underdog story. But right now, they are an underdog for a reason. I don't think they're as good. However, They can prove me wrong.
They're
They're an
as good.
underdog
Like a
because
lot of
they're-
teams prove me wrong on Wild Card Weekend. I think the Lions can prove us wrong going forward. But I'm not saying that they are better than those 4 teams. I'm not.
They're not, and I don't even know if they're better than the Packers. When you look at the Lions, bro, when you look
they're
at the
better than
Lions
the
this year, when they played a contender, they played the Ravens. They lost by like 35, bro.
But
or some shit.
team in week
And then-
6 is different than a team in week
That's
fucking
I
19.
agree, and I
Wild Card
agree, and I
Weekend.
agree with that. But then 2 weeks ago or whatever it was, you play Dallas, you lose according to a call. Let's say they won. Okay, if they win by what, a point? They still lost. This Dallas team just got fucking clapped, destroyed by the Packers. The Cowboys team also lost to Miami. How good was that game? That they lost to Dallas when Dallas has actually been really bad over the past few weeks. So I don't even know if that game is a testament. I think if the Lions go out and play San Francisco, who we know is a great team, dude, it's gonna get ugly because they can't stand in the same playing field as a 49ers
I don't
team.
agree. I think when you look at teams left in the playoffs,
The Chiefs, I think is a closer conversation. I would lean Chiefs because
In
of
the
Mahomes
playoffs,
and
I
Reed.
would lean Chiefs.
physicality matters in the playoffs. The Lions are a physical fucking team
Every
with
team's
a
physical,
good.
Well, the Dolphins aren't, yes, but most teams are physical at this point.
I don't totally agree with that. Actually, no. I think there's a reason why the Bills were able to turn it around because they started running the ball more and running down your fucking throat. There's a reason why the Ravens have been successful. They are going to keep running it down your throat, even though we don't have Greg Roman anymore. Like the Niners have been able to do that. When you look at the Packers, for me, yes, they did it this week, and that's what they've been getting hot. But like we are fully underestimating, I think, the capabilities of the Lions, even with the injuries that they have. And they could beat you in any which way. And frankly, their offense didn't need to be a high flying offense to win this game against the Rams. They ran the ball, and that's about it. Like I think you guys are underestimating the Lions.
I think the Lions can legitimately make the Super Bowl. I do.
You just think they're going to get routed if they do.
I do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't agree
Exactly.
with that. If they make the Super Bowl, there's a reason they made the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, yeah, because
of
you
course.
won 3 games for sure.
Okay.
I mean, that's how it works.
I'm
They are a
with
good
you.
team.
I just think
You
like
can't be putting words in
at-
my mouth and say they're not a good team. They're a good
But
team.
at what point, right? We did, and you were doing this a lot with the Cowboys. It's like, at what point is it less about like, well, this team, they went up against this team and they haven't been playing that well, or it's been on them.
Uh-huh.
Instead, why can't it just be like, maybe the Lions are actually a really good team, right? Like it's always been the
Because I
opposite
just
against the
still
Lions.
think the other teams are better.
Because the other
Not-
teams are
I'm not-
better.
It's not. It's the same as like
but
fucking.
I thought the Cowboys were a
I'm
better
not
team
putting
than
it.
the
It's
Lions.
the same argument as like.
Did you think the
Of
Cowboys
course, I did.
and the Lions beat them?
And it's any
So
given
the Lions
Sunday.
did not
Right,
beat them.
but
The Lions did not beat the Cowboys.
based off a call. Okay.
Yeah. The Lions.
The Lions didn't beat the Cowboys.
That's fact. But also the Cowboys did lose in Wild Card Weekend.
That's my point.
But also the Cowboys did lose in Wild Card Weekend to a worse team than the Lions beat a better team. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you a question. What would it take for both of you guys to have your tunes change about this Lions team? Like literally just go win a Super Bowl?
To how my tunes
Sure.
change.
Because I think
In what sense?
I think your argument to you getting,
I say the
getting hot.
I'm getting comfy. I say
think
the Lions are a 7 out of 10. You're putting them at a 9. They're not close to a 9, bro. That's just a
I
fact.
didn't quantify them. I'm just saying.
Bro,
I think
that's how I'm
my
measuring it
point.
based
My
off of what you're
point to
saying.
you has been that whenever the Lions have gone up against a team, the team has played poorly. And instead, what I'm trying to say is we should credit that the Lions are making these teams also play poorly, and that's why, therefore, we cannot count
No,
out
I'm
the
not-
Lions.
Okay, but I'll disagree with that because I'm not saying that teams are playing poorly against the Lions. With the Cowboys, they've been playing poorly for the past month, so the team is poor in that sense.
They're pretty rich, actually. Right?
Yeah, but then the same team,
Whatever,
the same Cowboys team smoked the Rams by 40.
We got to have some respect for the Lions.
We have respect for the Lions.
I don't think so. The Chiefs,
Dude, this is like
Fucking-
fucking saying that Felipe was saying Brock Purdy's a bad quarterback. That's just
Yes.
not true. It's just there are other factors here. It's like right now there are better teams, what I think are better teams in the playoffs. When those teams are out and the Lions are the last ones remaining, yeah, they're the best team left. That's how it goes. If they're the last one standing, then they're the best team left.
Yeah.
Then sure. You know what I
I'll
mean?
change my tune if the Lions
beat San Francisco.
if they compete with San Francisco, if it's a close game against San Francisco, then I'll change my tune. Then going into next year, I'll say this team, you got to be scared of them. But if they get clapped by San Fran, I'm not scared of them at all. Still next year.
Yeah. If you get clapped, then I think, but I also think the Lions. I don't believe the Lions would get clapped in San Francisco. 'Cause I think they can be physical with them, and I think that's what it takes. And I like Dan Campbell.
I do too.
Adam, I gave Felipe his chance to tell us what went wrong with the Cowboys. Tell us what went wrong for the Miami Dolphins in Wild Card Weekend.
They're all fucking bark no bite. The Dolphins are the least physical fucking team in the NFL. Now, granted, they had all these injuries, and I think a lot of people are going to be like, Tua fucking sucks and whatnot, and Tua is extremely limited, and there's going to be a lot of conversations in the offseason of if you pay Tua or not. But the Dolphins' meltdown over the last 6 or 7 weeks is solely on this offense. The same offense that was putting up 70 points, the same offense that I said was a generational offense, right? Because in the regular season, speed and finesse works. But when you get it, as I keep saying this whole episode, as you get into the playoffs, you need to be a physical team. And all they do is run this outside zone, toss sweeps, everything. But you can't run down their throat. And you don't have a power back that can do it. And in the cold, when it's 0 degrees, if you can't throw the ball, you could do one thing, and that's be able to run down a team's throat. And they were a good running team, but they couldn't run when it mattered most. And frankly, Mike McDaniel going away from the run a lot more than he did in first halves proves that. Right? Like, I think there was no trust in, like, I'm just going to keep running down their throats. And I think Mike McDaniel's a brilliant coach, and he's young, and he's got to learn. But this Dolphins collapse is on the offense, not the defense. The defense had a fuck ton of injuries. And frankly, Vic Fangio, with this makeshift defense, kept them in games. Kept them in Kansas City early on. It was right before the half. It was 3rd and 2 at the 50-yard line. If Mike McDaniel runs the ball the way he's been doing it the entire first quarter, they're going to convert. It's a completely different ball game. You're getting the ball at the second half. But what happens? He passes it on 3rd and 2, incomplete pass. 4th and 2, incomplete pass. Run the fucking ball. So when it comes down to the Dolphins, I think the Dolphins' collapse is due to their offense and more specifically the lack of physicality. I think you could win with Tua, but unfortunately you need a lot of the variables to be correct with Tua. And that is a really, really tough way to win in this league because you're going to need your quarterback to be an off-script guy, to be able to go through all these progressions. And frankly, Tyreek and Waddle are amazing and they're so fast and like it's flashy, but they have no physical presence there. Like, they have no tight end. Durham Smythe is not the tight end.
No.
Like, your third wide receiver might be a Chase Claypool, Chosen Anderson, Braxton Berrios. Like, it's all small guys. So where is your physicality? So I'm a frustrated Dolphins fan because we've seen these in the regular season, right? It's exciting, but the team is not made for the playoffs. The team is made for the regular season. And I think that, there's going to be a lot of changes in this Dolphins team.
Damn.
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, Mike should not be fired. I've seen Dolphins fans say that, which is crazy.
Dolphins fans are saying Mike should be fired.
Dolphins fans have no idea how to fucking react.
He's the only reason y'all were any type of relevant.
The one problem is him and Brian Flores have a very similar record in their 2 years.
Yeah, but there's a tangible difference between the
I agree with you. I agree with you. But Mike has a lot more talent. I'm not saying Mike should be fired. And frankly, I do think you give Tua a contract because he'll get a top 10 contract. And in 2 years, that contract will be lower. But I do think you're also playing with fire by giving Tua a contract because you're tying your job security to Tua Tagovailoa. If Tua doesn't perform well and the Dolphins don't win a playoff game next year, then your job is on the line, unfortunately. That's how it works in this NFL. Yep. So Stephen Ross has invested a lot of fucking money into this NFL team, and they have a lot of talent. The Dolphins have a fuck ton of talent. But they couldn't get it done. And granted, that goes to coaching.
They were cursed by injuries as well. But
the problem is a majority.
I know we try not to blame injuries on losses, but like they really were fucking.
Here's what I'm going to say. And I've pointed to the Dolphins injuries for an entire season. But this Dolphins offense had 9 of their 11 starters. Granted, you were missing your starting center and you didn't have time to throw, but this was arguably the healthiest they have been since Washington. The defense had the injuries. And Vic Fangio kept you in the game in Buffalo. He kept you in the game against Kansas City in fucking negative 100-degree weather. Mm-hmm. Who gave up? Now granted, the Tennessee game is one thing, but the offense is who to blame. Vic Fangio, you could only do so much with the talent you had. The effort wasn't there on defense. In certain parts, like a Duke Riley, who you probably don't know, a linebacker, or an Eli Apple, who everyone fucking knows.
Riley, bro. I've been watching Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
Come on.
But yeah, I think the Dolphins' failures come down to offense because it's the same offense that put up 70 points. He couldn't adjust. Game plans didn't change. It was the same fucking thing against Baltimore. It's the same fucking thing against fucking Buffalo. Same thing against Kansas City. Same thing. So I think a lot of changes need to come. And I also think you need to look at how you build your team. I think the team was built around speed and finesse, but that's not going to win in the playoffs anymore. I just don't think it, because if someone punches you in the throat, it just feels like the Dolphins couldn't respond. You got any thoughts? You don't give a fuck.
They are who we thought they were.
Come on.
They are who we thought they were. I've said it every week. No, I agree. I mean, I think the Dolphins are one of the softest teams in the league for sure.
I can't dispute that.
No, they are. And they have a lot of speed and finesse, and McDaniel is literally the definition of finesse.
Yeah.
Well, true finesse. Like, you're not scared of him going against a coach like that. Whereas, like, you go against, like, a Belichick in the playoffs, and you're like, you better be prepared. And McDaniel, like, it feels like you're playing Madden against him because he's like he's gonna scheme something up. That's like really good, but again, you need physicality. So I agree with that. I just think that you're right. You're in trouble if your success is predicated off of Tua.
Yes. It's worrisome.
I wouldn't want to be a Dolphins fan because you're in a situation now where
we're in a tough spot.
Yeah, where it's like you have Tua's good enough to like kind of be your quarterback, but is he good enough to go win? To go win? Probably not. And it would suck to be a Dolphin fan right now.
Yeah, it's tough because the way I see the Dolphins being able to win with Tua is I love Achane. I know Mostert scored a fuck ton of touchdowns. They need a power back. Now, granted, Derrick Henry's older, but he'll be the example that I would give. You need someone to be able to run down the throats, right? Like, so for Tua to be able to drop back and pass. So you could have Tyreek and Waddle, but you need a power back to complement Achane, and Mostert's going to be 32. So, like, we're not going to recreate that same season.
Yeah.
So Achane, to me, I don't think can carry the load. That dude is explosive, but he's a change of pace back with a big power back, and they need to go get a third option on offense. They have to figure out the offensive line because there were health issues, and there's some free agents. Connor Williams isn't going to be back for a long time. But granted, and Teron Armstead, obviously, who always is battling injuries, is your highest paid offensive tackle. So if you can figure out the offensive line, the things that I think need to change is you need a power back and you need a real tight end, like who can be a receiving threat, someone that you can trust. And then Mike McDaniel needs to go from speed and finesse to being able to play power, complementary football. I'm not saying all the time, but just give you more of that. And then defensively, obviously, like there's going to be a lot of cuts that are going to happen. You lost your two edge rushers, and so after that, there was not that much that could happen. But
tough.
I don't think we need to overreact, but they need definitely a decent retooling of the team.
Yeah,
They were old. One last thing. They were like the third oldest team in the playoffs.
Damn.
And frankly,
The
like
Dolphins?
yeah.
God damn.
But that it's due to injuries and they had to sign veterans. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. Wow.
Yeah, they kind of remind me of
hard.
like certain Eagles teams when like they would go out and sign all these free agents like Nnamdi Asomugha, like all these guys, and like, oh, cool. And they actually go out and perform for a year and then that's it.
Yeah.
And then you suck for the next few years because it's like you tied everything up into that. And the real formula for success in this league, not fucking talent don't matter, bro. Like none of that shit fucking matters.
Coaching.
What matters is organization.
Yeah.
Like it's the organization.
And
It's
the
why
Dolphins. Yeah.
it's why the Patriots were always going to Super Bowls and the Colts were always competing and the Ravens have always been good and the
Dolphins
Steelers are always
franchise
good.
They're a terrible
So,
organization.
You need
I always felt that the Dolphins, and I'm sorry, I know I'm going on, so I just haven't had time to.
You should.
The Dolphins, I've always felt that the Dolphins were like actually a year away from being able to like feel considered a Super Bowl contending team. And granted, they had success this year, and you're like, okay, maybe they are legit. But then you look at kind of how the team is made up now, and this team, if nothing changed, this team will never win a Super Bowl. And I think that's unfortunately due to Tua's limited capabilities in some aspects. And I think Tua's a damn good fucking quarterback. But do I think he can get into that top five without being an off-script type of guy? If he's only going through his reads and relying on timing? No, I don't think that. So like Tua's evolution this year, he stayed healthy. Congratulations, jiu-jitsu worked. But you need to be able to take a real fucking leap going into your fifth year when you get that contract because they're going to give him a fucking deal.
I think at this point you're hoping Tua can become Kirk Cousins.
I think he's like right there. He's definitely got a higher ceiling. It's just what he puts like.
I don't know if he has a high. Like if Kirk's got a stronger arm, now accuracy and stuff like that process. But I think he's benefited so much from Mike McDaniel, which is why it's like it sucks because if you're a Dolphins fan, because like McDaniel has made this team great.
Nah, I'm gonna still take Tua,
and he's made Tua great. Would you rather have Tua or McDaniel if you had to choose one?
Ooh,
it's a great question.
That is a
You'd
great
rather
question.
have McDaniel.
I'd rather have McDaniel,
of course.
Yeah, I'd rather have the coaching. But I also don't think we could take for granted how this offense has been built around Tua. So
yeah, I agree.
And
with
McDaniel's always been about he's always been a run game guy, which is shocking to me how he hasn't been a power back because of San Francisco. But I'm definitely going to take McDaniel. But even I think if you put Kyler Murray, because of Kyler Murray's off-script ability, the Dolphins are a scarier team, right?
Scary as hell.
So I think that's where the Dolphins' ceiling is limited is if Tua doesn't take another jump. Yeah. And he took a jump this year.
He did.
But the Dolphins will only win a Super Bowl if Tua takes that next leap, and that's off-script ability. And Mike McDaniel said in his post-game press conference, that's the next evolution he wants to challenge Tua to be in and to take that leap, and that's being off-script, an off-script guy. So we'll see. I don't know, but the Dolphins fucking suck, and I'm miserable.
I'm so sorry, brother.
It's okay.
Hey, you'll get them next year.
It's all right.
We'll get them eventually, bro.
You know, Felipe said the other day on our live, he was like, February 11th at midnight, the second the clock strikes 0 at the Super Bowl.
No one gives a fuck.
It's our year.
It's our year. Oh, good point. Yeah, good point.
So
don't sleep.
Giant Super Bowl.
This is our year.
I do want to address some of the comments on TikTok. People are asking if for Felipe to go off on the Cowboys. If you missed that, he already did that earlier in this episode. So go check out our YouTube Caps Off podcast. You can watch the whole thing. It'll be up there any minute now. And if you want to listen to our full episodes, this episode will be out this afternoon.
That's facts. But don't sleep though. Next year is our year.
Felipe went 2024 on why the Cowboys lost in Wildcard weekend. So if you want to hear about that, go check it out.
Buffalo.
Yeah, I guess so.
Sure. I want to wrap up.
Okay. Let's talk about Buffalo
real quick.
Wrap up for safety always though. What's up?
Yeah,
one word on Buffalo. Go.
I'm just trying to wrap my thoughts because I think, and we were talking,
in your cock.
It's pretty wrapped right now in these jeans.
Buffalo, come on.
Buffalo. I want Buffalo to win this year. I do because I believe in Josh Allen. I think he's a damn good fucking quarterback. And
bro.
No,
dude, that's fucking
good
hot,
take,
bro.
No. I'm complimenting you, bro. Come on, fucking.
All dude, that was spicy.
This year specifically, and frankly, I feel like it's always been the things that we've argued is that that Josh Allen is a good quarterback and not who cares about the turnovers, and B, that Lamar Jackson is also a damn good quarterback, and both of which deserve to be in that top 5, no question about it. And so and people always say, well, the Bills can't win in the playoffs. Josh Allen's turnovers. Like, I want to see the Bills be able to go out and beat a Baltimore, like a Baltimore-Buffalo AFC Championship matchup would be fucking exhilarating. And frankly, if I'm a betting man, it wouldn't shock me if Josh Allen makes it to the Super Bowl. So I want to see the Bills.
You want to address that YouTube comment right there?
You want Buffalo to win? Oh, so you're a fake Dolphins fan? Bro.
That's what I was going to say too.
Yeah.
Bro, get the fuck out of here with that's actually one of the things that I want to address NFL fandom.
Sure.
Because it fucking bothers me because I saw it all over Dolphins Twitter that people were rooting for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who gives a fuck that Buffalo took, that you lost because of Buffalo, that you lose the division because of them? Bro, they've been winning the fucking division. We need to be able to win the division and earn their right. So, I'm not going to root on Josh Allen's downfall or the Bills' downfall. That franchise has been on their fucking downfall for so many goddamn years.
You're a hater.
I'm not a fucking.
You're the opposite. You're not a true fan.
I'm a supporter.
I was like, what can I say?
You're
not a real fan.
I'm not someone
if you're a true Dolphins fan, you pray on the downfall of every other team.
I pray on the downfall of 2 teams. And who are those teams I've always prayed on the downfall for?
The Patriots and the Jets.
Bingo.
Not the Bills?
No, because
they're going to lose in the Super Bowl?
No, because they've always been bad, and I like Josh Allen as a fucking quarterback. What? They've been bad. They went to 3 straight Super Bowls and lost, and since that 4 straight Super Bowls and they lost. The Bills,
they've had good years since then.
They've been a franchise
than the Dolphins.
They've been way better than the Dolphins.
1,000%. But I'm saying the Bills are a franchise that the fans, they deserve a fucking Super Bowl. I would love to see the Bills win a Super Bowl. I'm not a fucking fake fan because I want to see I hate the Jets.
Fans deserve a Super Bowl.
Well, again, they
live through misery.
The only teams I pray for a downfall on are the people that within my friend group that are.
Oh, you don't know any
teams.
Bills fans, really?
No, I don't know Bills fans. Yeah. But also Bills fans there's people on Twitter that want to have beef over Dolphins, Bills and shit. Bro, stop hating on NFL fans. Who gives a fuck? All right?
You give a fuck. You're talking about it.
I'm supporting them though. I want to see the Bills. I would love to see the Bills go fucking win a Super Bowl, bro.
You might as well just be a Washington Commanders.
Does that mean I can't support Lamar Jackson's, desire to go win a Super Bowl because he's not
in your division.
He beat the shit out of us also?
No, but that's not the point.
Bro, I don't give a fuck that you're in my division. I hate 2 other teams in the division.
Okay.
You're supposed to hate 3 other teams in your division.
No, I don't give a fuck.
To be fair, I also only hate 2 other teams.
Yeah, you really care about Washington.
Nobody gives a fuck about Washington because they're bad. But the Bills
have been so good.
So it doesn't make any sense.
They should be the top team on your hit list.
I don't hate the Bills, bro. I like Josh Allen.
I like Josh Allen too. He's very likable.
That's cool. I like Hurts too, but I'm praying on the Eagles downfall every fucking game.
Yeah, but yeah. So
it's all good, brother.
Hey, bro.
I'm not praying on the Bills.
I'm in on the Bills. I like it. It'd be fun if the Bills won. It'd be fun if the Bills won.
At the end of the day, bro, the Dolphins are the best team in South Florida, easily.
Yeah.
I don't know. Miami FC. Inter Miami, I mean.
Oh, Inter Miami is better. Fuck. You're right.
I just hate when NFL fans do that. I hate so many arguing.
But I also disagree. All right. Well, let's wrap up this episode, guys. Very excited for divisional round. It'll be a good another week of football conversations.
Bingo, bongo.
Best week for the NFL media, as you said off the top.
Huge.
Eagles and Cowboys losing. No one cares
Destroyed.
about the Dolphins. The Dolphins lost 2.
I know no one cares about the Dolphins. I don't care about that.
Mm-hmm.
I would
All
rather
right.
not have attention.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to the Caps Off
All right.
podcast. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Peace.